As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the fuck up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff and Booner. It's Wednesday, September 17th. We are back on a Doc Wednesday. But not only a Doc Wednesday, we got another special guest joining the show, which I'm excited for. Host of Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher, is joining the show to give his Ravens side of things, give his take on the Lions from the Ravens perspective. He'll be joining us at 8:45. We got Dan Campbell quotes on 97.1 The Ticket, talking about the edge room, Davenport's injury, a little bit of an update, not massive update. Wink, wink, that people were upset at my title the other day. But regardless, we have lots to get to. Amon-Ra St. Brown talked about Ben Johnson and the FU Ben Johnson chants. We got a packed show today, Boone. How we feeling?
We do. It was good. I'm feeling great. Dan Campbell spoke today. Jared Goff was on a show. Amon-Ra's podcast came out. There was a lot to happen, and we have a Ravens kind of reporter hopping on the show here at some point, and we have the doc today, which I'm fired up about the doc. It was crazy today. It was just the doc's just, you know what? We've known the doc since day one. We were in negotiations with the doc about contracts today. We're talking Lions players, kind of talking contracts to keep the doc on the show on Wednesdays. I was shocked to hear that. I was like, we've had you on since day one, and now we had an Alex Anzalone situation on our hands. We had to move around Doc's payment and contracts to get him on the show tonight. We almost didn't have a Doc Wednesday. I'll tell you that.
It was trending towards a holdout, which we avoided. We avoided a Doc holdout.
I didn't know we had to pay him. I didn't know he was a payment guy. No clue.
It might be a hold-in situation where he does the show, but he's still, Doc
wants a pay increase. There was no pay before.
Yeah, he wants a pay increase from free. That's what he wants.
And Jeff, shockingly, what a move from Jeff. Jeff put him on the trade block. Hey, he was asking for some first-round picks for the doc, and I was shocked when I read that. I was like, whoa.
Hey, by the way,
dude.
I did not even. I'm gonna be honest. Hey, Hans, don't even feel bad, brother. I didn't even look. So I don't. You know what? Almost, I just act like I forgot I put it in. So don't even worry about it.
I'm gonna see real quick. I want to see what this parlay. Or people that want to know, we had a parlay earlier. Okay, so there was half of it didn't hit. Yeah, 3 of them missed. All right. That, you know what? I like that better because there was one earlier in the day for the Ivan Herrera didn't get a hit, and we had him as a hit, and it was early in the day, so it was like a little disappointing.
Shane M says, who you guys talking about, first-time listener? Well, if you are a first-time listener, every single Wednesday, John Maakaron, the publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated, joins us for about really the second half of the show. He joins us for the whole show. We talk everything Lions-related and other things related, life, baseball a little bit. Depends
everything.
On what we talk about with Doc.
And we almost lost him. We've had him on the show. How long are they going back? Because it's not even just on Crunch Time. When we were at Woodward, I had him on Woodward Nights. You had him on the morning show. Going back, almost over 2 years now, right?
Yeah, we've been talking ball with the doc. I used to have him on with Adam. We're talking like. Yeah,
years.
We've known the doc for a while. Yeah, we've known the doc.
We almost lost him to contract situations today. When that came across my phone, I was taken aback a little bit. I was like, "There's no way right now. What's happening?"
He's a tough cookie, man. Like, he's the wisdom. Doc is $100 an hour minimum. The Lebanese litigator. The Lebanese litigator.
Shout out, by the way, to Shop the VTG. I need to reach out. I need to get some stuff from him. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, Jeff. I've been following him so much good stuff. I need to get some stuff. I need to reach out. I can't forget.
Dude, Klotz posted that he's got all this different stuff. Dude.
Yes. I need to get some Lions gear, man. I really do.
Yeah, no, he's got a collection.
Some hats and some jackets.
He does a great job. All like throwback stuff, like old school stuff.
Everything too. It's not always just Lions. Like there's everything. So I need to get some retro stuff. I like kind of like retro shirts and stuff. So I need to figure that out.
What do you got on? What is that?
No free ads. It's just like
Oh.
it's a nice shirt. It's a nice.
Okay.
I enjoy this shirt. One of my favorites actually. But I will say though, he said how tense were the negotiations. Negotiations were tough. I threw out there, hey, we might have to do a Alex Anzalone type deal. I don't know if we can sign you long term. We might have to just get through this little bump here. And then all of a sudden it's super tense when Jeff just throws out there, you're on the trade block for 5 first-round picks. I said, whoa.
Yeah.
We're assistant GMs here. I didn't want to trade the Doc. I want to keep the Doc.
I think the Doc locked in when I told him where we'd be trading him to. I think he got a little.
I'm not going to tell the people where we were trading him to, but once he saw that, he was like, okay, all right.
He didn't like the destination. It wasn't his preferred destination. He didn't like it. But hey, like I said, different things to get to today.
He wanted to go to a team he could compete at.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to.
The one of them being Amon-Ra St. Brown talking about the FU Ben Johnson chants. Here's the St. Brown Brothers pod and Amon-Ra addressing it.
They started chanting FU Ben Johnson. What do you think about that? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think that was, I don't think that was right. I don't think he deserves that just because of how much he's done for us. I mean, Ben being the offensive coordinator for the last 2.5, 3 years. He helped turn our whole offense around with the guys that we had here. He, had the highest scoring offense last year, top 5 offense for the last 2 or 3 years for us in Detroit. So he did so much for us as a team, for the city of Detroit, for the fans of Detroit that were watching that game. They were just cheering us on, 7 months ago with Ben as our OC. So I think, the FU chance is definitely not something that Ben deserved. Booing an FU is completely different. If you're going to boo a guy, okay, whatever. That's just, being a fan. He's obviously on the other team now. You're going to boo him. But saying FU Ben I don't think that's right. So, I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't even hear it, honestly, when I was on the field and I go to the locker room and I see videos of fans saying FU. I'm like, yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, well, we talked about this the other day. We align more with what Amon-Ra is saying. We don't it's not something that we would do. We cover the Lions, but we're also fans at the end of the day. Whether people want to believe I'm a Bears fan or not, but I am a Lions fan. I wouldn't do this, but I'm not going to sit here and I understand why fans would do it, even if I disagree with it. I understand the fan perspective. Like Amon-Ra and players have a different relationship with Ben. The fans don't have the same relationship with Ben. They appreciate him, I'm sure. But they're fans, man. It's short for a fanatic. I mean, they see him go to the Bears. People are going to feel a type of way. They're just going to, whether it's right or wrong, it's just you can't control. I would say the NFL out of all the sports, I know UFC is probably up there too. I was in hockey, but they are the most crazy fans. You know what I'm saying? They are crazy in the NFL. Like it's a barbaric sport. So people are going to say, when guys get destroyed, everyone loves it. Big hits. It's like one of those sports. So people get a little over the top. It's not like the NBA. It's like where it's a little more relaxed. It's still intense, but they're not, hitting each other full speed. It's a little more intense. So, yeah. I get what Amon-Ra is saying, but I listen, fans are going to be fans at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm with Amon-Ra on this. I was yesterday. I'll stay on it today. Like, it's the same thing. I think booing is fine once you start doing the FU, all this. Like, what did he – yeah, he's on a rival team. Definitely get that. Is the Chicago Bears rivalry – is it like the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, would you say, Jeff? Is it like that intense?
I think with Ben now, it's probably getting there's
so?
a lot more history. No, I wouldn't say without Ben it is, but
I just think it's just like
it'll be that type of way.
Amon-Ra's not wrong at all, though. Like, he did help, and people were like, he didn't win a Super Bowl with you, but okay, he helped basically make history here. Like, we didn't win a playoff game since the 90s, and he was a massive reason why you did do that, right? Like, you went to the NFC Championship game partially because of what Ben Johnson's offense did. And
put up 30-something points in that game.
Yeah, and then the next year, you win 15 games because of what Ben Johnson did, and he helped kind of turn this franchise around with Dan Campbell. So, I think there needs to be, and this is how I look at it, I'm with Amon-Ra. Like, there is a respect factor at the end of the day. Like, yes, it's a fan. Like, we're fans of the team, and the Chicago Bears is a rival. Totally get that. Like, I'm right there with him on that, and with the fans on that. I think there is a respect factor of like what he's done for the city. And I mean, I don't like, this is where I don't think people realize it too. Ben Johnson could have left like 2 years ago. Like he could have been left. And on top of that, he did a press conference. I think it was last summer. And it was when he ended up choosing to come back, and he goes and does a press conference. And he was like, I don't want to be anywhere else right now besides Detroit. My family loves Detroit. We love being here, and he went on that rant about it. And it was like, no, like Ben loves the city and he loves the fans, like all of that. So for me, it's just more so like there is a respect factor. He doesn't hate us. Like he still probably loves Detroit, loves the fans, loves the Lions, all of that. Obviously there's that, the headbutting of being rivals. And that's where I think the booing and all of that, that's okay. Like, that's why I think you're able to boo him and do that. And I'm sure he expected it. The FUs and the middle fingers and all of that. Like, to me, that's just like a little over the top. Like, you're trying too hard at that point, in my opinion. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, what are you doing? Like, you don't genuinely hate this guy. Like, you don't. Like, he stuck around here for an extra year to try and help us win a Super Bowl. And whether you think, yeah, he might be one of the reasons you didn't because the offense had 5 interceptions, whatever. But come on, like, it's just like you're just doing a little too much at that point, in my opinion. That's all. I side more so with Amon-Ra. Like, he doesn't deserve that.
Yeah. I think it's well said what you just said. I mean, he left. I know people want to say he went to the Bears. I get it, division rival. You're going to have more, you're going to be upset with him for doing that, but he felt that was the best job. And I have to kind of relate to him on a human level. If we're choosing careers, you're going to choose the best job. At least you think is the best job. So it's not like he said, I'm going to go to the Bears because it's we're going to compete with the Lions. Like, no, he went to the Bears because he felt like it was the best job. Whether he's going to regret that in a year or not, he still went to the Bears. So it is what it is. Jared Goff joined 97 won the ticket too, and talked about his like Ford Field leap, whatever you want to call it. His attempt at it, I guess, to try and clear the wall there. And he also talked about the O-line, which we're going to get into as well. But here's Ben Johnson. Here's Jared Goff on 97 won the ticket.
And are you training to nail it the next time? Can we expect to see a montage video of Jared Goff training to land that leap into the Lions stands?
Yeah. I think I'm going to retire from jumping in the crowd. I think that might be the last one for me. I think my technique's wrong. I don't think I push off of the top of the wall well enough. I think that's kind of the thing I'm missing. I'm just trying to like jump in there. You can't do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to retire from that for a little while. Maybe I'll bring it back one day, but for a little while, I'm going to stay in the stadium and feet on the grass.
Can you give us a specific example where that communication improvement really paid off, and maybe something might look a lot easier than it actually was?
Every single play up front from the O-line, and it's just reps with those guys. They're all great players, but just getting on the same page and feeling like they're gelling together and starting to understand each other's calls and their movements and how they want to hit certain blocks. I think all that stuff came to fruition up front. I thought they played incredibly. I thought the pass protection was as good as I've ever played behind, and it's only looking up for those guys. They've done a great job, and it'll take another good week of practice to try to do it again.
You said the pass protection Sunday was as good as you've ever played behind. Is that really the case? I mean, sure. That's something to be said. Given
how many sacks?
None.
And I think I got hit once on a scramble. I mean, it's pretty unheard of. They were incredible. They were great. They held up all day, and those guys aren't a bad front over there. They got Grady Jarrett, they got Montez Sweat, they got dudes over there who have been in the league for a long time who have gotten a ton of sacks, and I thought they did a great job.
You still have the advantage of the Lions fans taking over other team stadiums. Tell the fans how much that helps to have that much presence on the road.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It really is. It really is cool. And even week one, dude, I know we didn't play very well and we didn't win, but you could see it pregame. You could feel the energy from our fans. You could see the sea of Honolulu blue there. And anytime that happens on the road, dude, it's so cool. And it's really certainly cool when we're winning and, potentially their fans are leaving and our fans start to get loud. That's where it's really fun. But it takes a lot of hard work to get to that point in the game. But yeah, it's fun to have our fans anywhere we go, and they travel well.
Yeah, Jared mentioned
we both were muted. I was muted too. I wanted to go talk. I was muted.
Well, I think the thing that stood out the most, obviously, he's retiring the leap, which he's give that one another try. It's not his best attribute. Maybe isn't his athleticism.
Do you think it's that hard?
I don't know. I got to see how tall it is. I guess
that's
like
what
how
I was
big
thinking
it is.
too.
I
wonder if it's higher than we think. Maybe
Amon-Ra made it look too easy. He's obviously very athletic, so I don't know. I think me and you. I don't think me and you it would be easy for us.
You don't think we would be able to get up there?
I would like to think I have confidence in our abilities. I think we can.
I think I could, but there's you know what this feels like? He's done it twice now, and he's fumbled it both times. Like he hasn't done good. I think there's a world where that wall is really, really high. Like it's like we all like we're watching on TV, and we're like, how can he not do this? Like Jared's so unathletic. He's like 6'3", right? 6'4". It's pretty big.
Yeah, he's 6'4". Yeah, he's a big dude.
So you would think that he would be like, it's not that big of a jump. And I'm like 5'11", 5'10". I would think, I feel like, I don't know. It has to be like a 6 foot wall. Has to be.
It can't be 6. Well, I'm 6 foot.
It has to be. Do we have the video? Can we play the video? How tall is, let's do this. I have an idea. Jared Goff height. How tall is he? He's 6'4". Let's see him standing next to it before he jumps.
Let me see.
If it looks 4 inches taller, then it's probably 6 foot. That's a big jump, right?
Oh, we can do this.
To get lifted all the way up on top of it.
I can't play that. I can't play it because it's a broadcast.
Can you just pull the video up just so we can see like where like
here? I have a picture of like watch. This will be you'll see what I'm saying. Watch.
I just want to see his height compared to before he jumps. Like what's the height look like?
Let me see. Well, you can't see Jared standing next to it, but you can see Amon Ra.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Someone like Steve Lehman said the wall's like 4 feet. There's no way if Jared can't get off a 4 foot wall, dude. Amon Ra is like that's almost as tall as Amon Ra.
Yeah, you're right. It might be like
he's 6 foot. Amon Ra's 6 foot.
We could do this. Yeah, we could do this. I think we could.
I think that's tall, dude.
I think we could. I think I could do this. Maybe
dude, I think it's shorter than 6 foot. Look at the people that are like the camera people. They're almost as tall as it, and they're on their knees basically.
Need a running start. I need like an Amon Ra running start though. I don't think Jared even had a running start. I think he tried jumping right under it. Like he tried just climbing up over it.
I want this idea, and this is my idea. If someone takes it or you guys see someone do it, I want this on record. I would like to do a video with Jared Goff, like how Tosh.0. Do you remember Tosh.0?
Oh, dude, yeah.
They used to do the remake. Like you would get, what was it called when you would get like a second chance at something? Someone in the chat has to know.
I don't remember.
I would like to do a video with Jared Goff, like him.
Web Redemption Wednesday.
Yes, a web redemption with Jared Goff. I would like to host it, and we can get it done for Jared. And then he'll practice. We'll do a video, and then next time he has some sort of touchdown or a big moment, he gets his web redemption. That's how I think he needs to go about this.
Redo it.
He needs to practice.
And I'll say this. He said something very interesting in that interview, which I think we need to mention. He said that was probably the best game from a pass protection standpoint he's ever had. He was hit like once, whatever he said, sacked 0 times. I mean, that is saying something, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
2 pressures.
I think he said at the end of the interview, not in the clip, but in the interview at the end, Gator and Doug didn't ask about the coordinators. And he said, they were like, all right, Jared, we appreciate you. Whoa. You guys aren't going to ask about the coordinators? And he's like, well, we can if you want. And he goes, no, I'm okay. I was just checking. You know, like he got a little petty in him too at the end.
He probably, honestly, you know what it is too? Like, especially with the coordinators, that's been the conversation this whole time. And now they finally had a good game and no one asked about it. You know, you see what I'm saying? Where it's like, why all these times you guys ask about it all off season after every bad game, and then finally we have a good game in week 2. Coordinators look good, and then no one wants to ask him like, "How about those coordinators, huh?" And he's like, what the heck, dude?
Yeah, it's kind of. I guess the learning lesson is it to take a process and react to the game, but understand that this is 1 and 2 games of a long NFL season. So there's going to be a lot
17.
Good, bad, everything in between. There's going to be a lot, that kind of happened throughout the season. So it's a week-to-week league. I mean, we're not going to stop giving our reactions. I know people are like, how dare you guys? Like, we do 5 shows a week, 2 hours a day. We're going to give reactions. But we have to keep in mind, of course, that this is a long season. Then this Monday night's going to be massive. And I think what I'm interested in seeing, for me, is an offensive line that has played significantly better than they did week 1, especially on the interior, which that's what you're looking at. Christian Mahogany, Graham Glasgow, and Tate Ratledge. they're going to be going up against one of the best defensive tackles in the entire league, Justin Matabuke, who just got an extension a couple years ago, right when Aleem McNeil got his extension. He gets paid to do a lot of things, one of them being get sacks, get after the quarterback. He's had a double-digit sack season. He's a disruptor, and you want that. I mean, it's not fair to be like, you want that performance copy and pasted, but you at least want Jared to be semi-comfortable against the Ravens. And those guys, specifically Graham in the middle, they're probably going to be doubling him a lot. They're going to need to step up this week because
that's a big matchup.
He could wreck a game. That guy easily could wreck a game. He's like in the Chris Jones. He's like Chris Jones, Quinn Williams, Dexter Lawrence. He's in that. Maybe he's not as good as those guys, but he's right in that kind of right below that tier, if you want to say. But he's very good.
Yeah,
so, and I'll definitely be asking Kevin when he joins us from the Ravens Wire and host a Lockdown Ravens about him, because that's going to be that's the matchup to watch, and no one's really talking about, but massive.
I mean, I think it's a big one that needs to, like, that is a conversation. I'm sure offensively, like, they're having those conversations, like, especially the interior being younger with Christian Mahogany at Tate, and then Graham not being the most experienced center in the world. I'm sure those are like conversations that are being had because he's one of the best in the game right now. I do think the offensive line, like, it's a good test for them this weekend. It is. And Dan even said it, like, I think this offensive line can get better. Like, there were definitely times where maybe they missed, opportunities. And he said as a whole too today on 97.1, he had mentioned that just offensively as a whole, like, he feels like this offense can just keep getting better. Like, they're not even close to where they need to be, which is, I think, a good sign. I know it was the Bears scored 50 points, but the fact that they're just like not settling, most teams would put 50 up and then be like, oh, here we go. We're like, we know we're good. No, they're just like wanting to push forward. And I think offensive line wise, what's crazy, Jeff, and I don't know, I didn't watch the segment today. I saw the clip of it. The doc actually posted the clip. On the McAfee show, AQ Shipley, familiar?
Yep.
AQ Shipley does his, like, I don't know. Now, someone, if you watched it, just let me know, because I haven't watched AQ's segment this year yet. We're only in week 2, so I didn't have time. There's so much stuff to watch, by the way, Jeff, like during football season. It's so hard to fit everything in. It's so tough. But he did like his top 5. I don't know if it was top 5 offensive lines or offensive line plays, but the Detroit Lions, I saw the doc tweeted out, they came in at number 2. So, they are improving. And, like, whether you want to say that's just the play or the line in general, this offensive line is right there again. And the fact that Jared Goff is like, hey, that was one of the best, protection games that I've had in almost my whole career. And the fact he only got hit once in a full game, I know it's the Bears, but, like, is the Bears front 7 that bad? There's no way.
No, they're not terrible. They're not as terrible. People want to make them sound terrible to be negative. They're actually they're respectable.
There's no chance
they're going to face, but they're. I mean, it's the same thing with, like, the Bears blowing the Bears out. People are like, "Oh, you blew the Bears out, cool." It's like, okay, if you beat the Bears by 3 points, what are you saying? And also, it's like the defensive line for the Bears. They don't allow a sack, and now people are like, "Well, it's the Bears." Well, if they allowed a sack or 2, what would we be saying?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you allowed a sack against the Bears. It's like, okay, we have to pick one and be consistent here. Are we giving them credit or not for playing well? It's like, So, yeah, I don't really care. I think the Bears, it's respectable. Grady Jarrett's not a bum. Montez Sweat's not a bum. They have, who's the
they have Javon Dexter.
Javon Dexter, defense tackle from
the dude that they signed, the dude is like Deo or
Odeo or the Bingo.
Yeah.
Or the Bingo. Forgot.
And they have some linebackers that can get to the quarterback too. They have very good linebackers as well.
Yeah, so they're respectable for sure. And Streams Only says when people say defensive tackles don't get sacks, you have to question their ball knowledge with players like Justin.
Justin as well as, like, Chris. That's why it was like with the Aleem stuff. People are like, well, Aleem deserves that contract. It's like, dude, he just, like, and then they're like, well, he's not a guy. He's like, he's not a guy that gets the production of sacks. Well, he should be. Like, he's not a DJ Reader. He's not a nose tackle who just is going to disrupt. Like, he's a dude that's supposed to be getting to the quarterback. Yeah. And it's like you have these defensive tackles around the league who are top 5 paid that are getting 10 plus sacks, and he's just, has he ever gotten over 5?
Aleem? No, I don't think so.
3rd highest paid defensive tackle.
He has not gotten over 5. He's had 5, and then last year he played in 14 games and had 3.5.
Yeah, 14 games, 3.5. So he missed 3 games and I only have 3.5. Third highest paid defensive tackle, and he's not a nose tackle. He's a quarterback.
Yeah,
yes.
His position is literally defensive tackle, but also you should be able to rush the quarterback. Push the pocket back and create some havoc. Which he had the game against Dallas. You see flashes with him. You just want more consistency. Like these other guys are consistent. Like Matabuke, I think he had a streak in Baltimore where he had like half a sack at least a game for like a long stretch. I think Matabuke. I think it was the season he had like 12.5. He had like half a sack and like 10 straight, whatever it was. There's a bunch.
He's a disruptor, man.
He
really is.
He is a disruptor. And Quinnen Williams, another one. Nick P said he's another one disruptor. He had double-digit sacks. Like, just watch. Yeah, just because you're a defensive tackle, like DJ Reader, I'm not expecting to get sacks. Like,
I mean, dude, Matabuke already has 2 sacks this season. 2 weeks in.
Yeah. See, he's a problem, man. He's the problem. So, we'll see with that. I see this question. Clinton says, should I start Lions defense versus Ravens in fantasy? Clinton, I don't know if you're trolling. Do not do that.
I have the Lions defense as well.
Do not do that.
Don't do it.
I do not do that. I only have one defense in my league. It's the Rams, and they're facing the Eagles, and I don't know what to do. And I can't drop a player because I can't have any players I can drop. So I'm just rolling with the Rams against the Eagles. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm in a similar position unless you absolutely have to start them. But here's the thing I'm a little worried about in general with this defense, which I will tell you after I tell you about our friends over at Comer and Cross. Look, you like that little tease? Hold on. Let me tell you about
that's something. I mean, dude.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Comer and Cross and their one-day installation concrete floor coatings. Right now, during Comer and Cross's sale, they're offering 12 months same as cash or $500 in savings. And I know you're sick and tired of staring at your cracked, stained garage floor. Well, call the number 248-834-3488 and they'll transform your patio, your pool deck, basement, even your driveway, and they'll move the stuff out for you. They repair cracks and pits before applying your stunning new floor, guaranteed. With 12 months same as cash or $500 off, call them. Why wait? 248-834-3488, 248-834-3488, or book your free estimate at comercross.com. Tell them your friends over at Crunch Time Sports sent you. All right, like I was saying about the defense, I do want to bring up something I think is a concern for me. I think there's 2 things. One of them, it's not maybe concern, but maybe just intrigue. I think it's going to be a good test for this defense. One is the matchup with Derrick Henry. I think we've had 2 games so far with this run defense. Obviously, DeAndre Swift, they didn't do as well as they typically do. And then Josh Jacobs, they did a really good job. So I'm hoping you get week 1 run defense against Derrick Henry, because last time they played the Ravens, obviously beat the Lions by a lot, and they didn't have Derrick Henry. Obviously, the Lions don't have Aleem McNeil, but you're going to need Ty Leak to play pretty good. And DJ Reader, for whatever reason, didn't play a ton of snaps against the Bears, but you're going to need a lot out of him as well. Roy Lopez, I think he's a good role player, but I would rather have DJ Reader in there more than Roy Lopez. I don't know what the case was, but you're going to need him for his run defense. And then the other thing is containing Lamar Jackson. It's already hard enough. And I don't care if they get Malik Cunningham to simulate anything. It doesn't really matter. It's still Lamar Jackson. He's one of one. You can't really simulate the guy. He's like a video game character. It's impossible. So I'm a little worried just from that matchup. I think he just brings – he's a problem for any defense. It doesn't matter if you're the best defense of the league. It's Lamar Jackson. It happens to every team. It's not like a Lions problem. That's just an NFL problem. And actually an NFC problem, because he beats every NFC team for whatever reason. He just can't beat any AFC team in the playoffs. I don't know why. That's just the Lamar Jackson story. And I think for a defense in the Lions that is still kind of gelling together, there is some concerns for me. I think the feeling I'm getting, Boone, early in the week, and maybe this will change, but I'm getting a sense of if the Lions are going to win this game, it's going to be on the offense. I think they're going to have to score a lot of points. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game because I don't see the Lions consistently stopping Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And I think the Baltimore Ravens secondary is going to struggle with these Lions weapons. So I think the recipe to win this game, you got to score a shit ton of points. You got to create some turnovers. I know it's hard. Lamar doesn't really turn the ball over either. He's gotten really good at that too, which makes it extremely difficult. but Derrick Henry fumbled against the Bills. So maybe you can create a turnover. But I think the feeling I'm getting just from the just looking at the defense, I don't think they're going to get too many. I think it's going to be a shootout if you win this game.
I think offensively you have to be. I'm not going to say perfect, but you have to be on your game if you want to be in the game. Like if you want to be competing to win, you have to keep up offensively. I think a lot of people like this Lions rush defense has been very good in the past, and I know and I want to see too real quick. I just want to make sure. What did Derrick Henry rush for last week?
Oh, dude, he was bad.
11 for 23. I don't see a world where Derrick Henry goes back-to-back weeks 20 yards. Do you know what I mean? You might be able to slow him down a little bit. It's Derrick Henry. He's one of the best in the game. So, I was thinking about this today when I was kind of getting ready and preparing for the game this week. My thought process was, it's like in basketball when we're like, hey, you can let this guy he can go ahead and score 30. We're going to find a way to kind of just stay in this game with that. Derrick Henry's probably going to get his at some point, right? He's probably, as much as we hate to say it, Derrick Henry's probably going to break off for a 30 or 40 yard plus run. It's going to happen. It's to me, it's more so how does this team respond to it? Do they, if he breaks off for a 40-yard run, does Derrick Henry turn it into a 60-yard touchdown, or do the safeties, is Kirby and those guys going to be able to step up, make the tackle, and force him to a field goal? And then say he doesn't, and then offensively, you got to be able to respond like you do. You have to be able to go out there and outscore this team. Because defensively, it's going to be a challenge. And it's not just Derrick Henry. It's Lamar Jackson as well.
Yeah, dude.
And we keep bringing up this edge room. We just keep bringing it up. But, you're just sitting there with Aiden Hutchinson and AQM now, essentially. And obviously, they love Pat O'Connor on the outside. They love to move these tweeners to the outside. But especially when you're talking about Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, you got to be able to stop the run, but you also have to be able to contain Lamar Jackson. So it's you get kind of in a weird spot to where, do you want to go bigger on the edge with Hutch and maybe Pat O'Connor to stop Derrick Henry? But then is Pat O'Connor going to be able to contain or chase down a guy like Lamar Jackson that's, shifty and one of the best running quarterbacks that we've ever seen in the game? You know what I mean? You're in a weird spot. And now you're probably out without Marcus Davenport this week because Dan's still this morning, Dan gets asked about an update. Did you hear that, Jeff?
I got it right here. Yeah.
And he's just if you want to, he's just we don't have one. That's more concerning than having an update. I would rather have heard he might be out a couple of weeks than being we don't have one.
Because I think they generally just don't know how bad.
Which is that to me is that to me is tough, man.
Well, Dan went on 97.1 The Ticket. This is on SI.com. Detroit Lions on SI. Shout out to the doc, John Maakaron. We got it right from his article, which you guys should read. Read the full article there. But here's a snippet here. It says, appearing on 97.1 The Ticket for his weekly radio interview, Detroit's popular head coach was asked about his comfort level behind Davenport and shared another injury update with the team's starting defensive end. Dan said, quote, nothing new there. I mean, I'm probably not going to know till the end of the week. But as far as depth, we're good. We're in a pretty good place here. We've made some acquisitions. Brad did right out of camp. So we're pretty good depth-wise here, but we'll know more at the end of the week.
Can I ask you a question with that?
Yeah.
What acquisitions did they make, defensive line-wise?
I think he has to be referring to probably Tyus Wheat. I mean, I don't mean to laugh. I'm trying not to laugh, but I think I'm trying to be respectful.
No, I mean
Tyus Wheat, and I think they signed the other defensive tackle from.
Yeah, those two guys. Okay,
but that's really the only acquisitions they've.
And they let go of Isaac Kuku. They never brought Isaac Kuku back to the practice squad. They cut Mitchell Agude or vice versa, whatever it was. So your two other edge rushers that were decent in preseason aren't even on your practice squad. Who knows where they are? They might have got picked up. They're not playing football right now. Yeah.
Jeff O'Neill, shout out from Marquette, Michigan. Great show, boys.
Shout out Marquette.
Hey,
I used to go to
appreciate
I used to go up to Marquette every year for basketball. Go play Northern Michigan.
Shout out Marquette.
Shout out Tom Izzo.
Listen, I will say this: AQM is going to have an increased role this week. There is no denying that.
Do you trust him as your edge too? A genuine question.
Full-time edge 2, playing edge 2 snaps for the rest of the season. You probably want more depth. But I can't say anything bad really about his play as a rotational piece. He's been pretty good. I mean, look at this. Apparently, Boone, AQM based on the 2025 edge pass rush win rate through 2 games, he is higher than Micah Parsons. I'm just saying. He's just below Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson's a 29% pass rush win rate. El-Quadin Muhammad, 28%. Micah Parsons, 25%. Miles Garrett, 29. He's in the upper echelon here. Now, I will say, in all seriousness, it is in a very small sample size. Like, it's a very, very small sample size.
Very.
But one could argue, give him more snaps. And maybe you get some production. I mean, last year he didn't play a lot of snaps. He got a couple sacks. So I think
he had 3 sacks in 9 games, which is pretty good. He was on track for about 6.
Yeah, like I think he's a good, like a rotational piece. He's a good guy to have in that room, man. Like I got nothing bad to say about AQM, but am I confident? Like he steps up into that edge 2 role and you're fine. I mean, and you don't. And what's behind him though is my concern. Like honestly, Boone, you're an injury away from having probably, and I don't mean to throw shade, Pat O'Connor at edge. Like that's really what.
I mean, he's already part of your rotation at the edge. I don't understand. Okay, I don't want to be negative all week about the edge because I know this is something that people get upset about. They get sad about, and they're like, "Why are we going at Brad about this?" At what point, like, and I've been one of the biggest, Jeff, you know this because you've gone at Brad and Dan about this, and I'm the one that steps up and be like, "Listen, they know what they're doing. Trust them."
Which they do. They do know what they're doing.
They do. But at what point in the edge room, like, you know what I want? If I'm just being completely honest with you, I was thinking about this on my drive home today. I want one thing, and I don't deserve it. None of us really deserve it. Brad doesn't have to do it. He doesn't owe us anything besides a Lombardi trophy. I would love him to do a press conference if Marcus Davenport's out for the season and to be like, I was wrong. You guys were all right. That's all I want. Like, that's it. I just want him like, and you know what? If he does that, I don't care what he does with the edge room. I don't. We could roll with AQM, Pat O'Connor for the rest of the year. I don't care. I would love if that happened. I just want to hear Brad Holmes be like, hand up, that's on me. I should have went and got Joey Bosa. I should have went and got Za'Darius. I should have brought Za'Darius back. That's all on me. That's it. That's all I want at the end of the day. Because it is, Jeff, you can't tell me it's a little frustrating that like this was a conversation and Brad constantly at every press conference when asked about the edge room, constantly like made people feel like they had no clue what they were talking about because he was like, but we have Marcus Davenport. He's healthy. He's in the best shape of his life. He will never get hurt again. We trust him.
He didn't say the end part again.
And that's what it felt like. Every comment he made, it felt like he was like trying to be like, I know. Like, he literally was like, he's in the best shape of his life. I've never seen him work so hard. I've never seen him in this shape before. There's no way he gets injured again. And then in week 2, he's getting a second opinion on something because obviously he's about to be out long-term potentially. And they don't know what's going on. Dan Campbell does a press conference on Wednesday of a game week, and he's like, I don't know what's happening. You can't tell me that's not ridiculous, dude.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's insane. Like,
but the reality is he will never admit it. I just know from Brad.
He needs to. If he admits it, I think all of us in the fan base and people who cover the team would be like, okay, we're not great. Don't gaslight me to thinking that you have a great edge room outside of Hutch. What are we gaslighting the fans and the people for?
By the way, Wheezy D, appreciate the $2. He says if we lose any game ever, it's because of the edge.
No, that's not it. No, Wheezy D is trolling right now. That was a sarcastic comment.
Week 1, we talked about 3-4 things before we got to the pass.
Oh, I mean, the offensive line was the number one thing.
Yeah, it was the offense. So yeah, but here's the thing, Wheezy D. When you have a football team like the Lions, and they're as complete as they are, you have to nitpick things, or not that you're intentionally doing it, but you're talking about very limited weaknesses on a very good team. If you were going to bring up something about the Lions, no question, offensive line, the youth, in the D line outside of Hutch, the edge room. It's a real thing. I mean, what else are you pointing out on this football team? No team's perfect. You have to point out things like the Ravens. You're playing the Ravens. Guess what their weakness is? The secondary. Yeah, it's been the secondary for years. Fans, I'm sure we're going to have Kevin on. He'll probably say the secondary. It just comes with it, And then Ahmed goes down, and it's like, Yeah, that sucks. We were excited for Ahmed, man. I think it would have been exciting for him right now because they probably would need him more than ever. And he's dealing with the injury. So
I hope he comes back soon. I do think, honestly, it might, and we don't know how Ahmed's going to be. If Josh Pascal just like comes back and then we get Ahmed back, all right, it would be a little better. But the fact that in like Levi, Josh, all these guys go down, we have lost this offseason. and you know what? I will give Brad a little credit because let's say the D-line never got hurt and it was healthy. You would have right now on this D-line Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, and Ahmed Hassani. I don't think that's a bad D. And Aleem McNeil. That's a pretty good D-line top to bottom. But there's no preparation, and these are guys who get hurt their whole career, and there's no preparation if they did get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, V Wade 222 says, "Do you think a healthy 2024 Lions team would beat this Ravens team?" Like talking about like, okay, so Frank Ragnow, Carlton.
Yeah,
Davis,
I think they would.
The O-line for sure. Kevin Zeitler, you'd have a way better chance because the O-line would be better. So like, yeah, I think so.
D-line, if it was healthy, they'd have Zadarius Smith and Hutch.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah, I would say yes.
You'd have a healthy Josh Pascal, Levi O as well. AQM still on that squad. Like that's a good Aleem, DJ Reader.
That's a good point.
It's a good squad.
Honestly, I would actually agree with that. I want to see. Let me see. Austin says
Derek Barnes.
Austin says, question, fellas, can the Lions sign the Egyptian Nightmare after week 3 because of the injury settlement? Yeah, they'll bring him back, but he won't play. I mean, he's not going to play.
You don't think so?
Maybe not for most of the season. Maybe he'll come back for like the last part of it. Maybe.
I think he's going to be back earlier than you think. Are you saying he's going to come back healthy and just not play because he's not ready?
No. I think if he comes back, they're going to need him probably.
I think honestly, we can ask the doc when he gets on. I think the injury, I don't know how long that takes. I do think that, like in my mind, I don't know if they did it because they didn't want to have enough spots on the IR and they were out of IR spots or what, but my guess would be 4 to 8 weeks. He's back by week 8. That's my guess.
Yeah, if that's the case and you get him back.
I could be so wrong on that, though. I don't want people to think Booner said, hey, he's reporting he's going to be back before.
No, it's just your opinion.
That's where my mind goes. Like between weeks 4 and 8, he could be back in a couple of weeks. I mean, he didn't have like he didn't have to get surgery for a pec. And we've seen guys get pec tears on this team, like CJ Gardner-Johnson, and he's back by week 16, week 17. So I don't think he got
injured in preseason.
He got injured week 1 versus the Chiefs, I think it was, or week 2. But I'm talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson. Sorry. Yeah.
No, sorry, I was talking about Ahmed. Preseason.
Yeah, and Ahmed got preseason, and it wasn't as bad as CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's a lesser injury, and CJ, he got hurt during the season and came back during the season. So I would think Ahmed's back at least halfway through the year.
I just think people have to keep in mind that, in my opinion, I don't think anyone's coming to save this team at the deadline. We got to get that out of them. I don't think Brad's going to make a big trade, so I'm just preparing that now. I know people are like,
I don't know who you would even get.
Yeah, I don't know who. I mean, and you're giving up assets. It goes back to that conversation. It's like, is Brad going to give up assets? There's so many things. There's such a checklist for a guy to make sense for Brad. Not in a bad way. I actually think it's a good thing. But contract, the right fit player. How much does he cost? Like, there's so many. Like Brad, how they do it. They value, in which is worked out for the Lions. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's just what Brad does. Like, I don't think he's just going to go, hey, call teams, give me your DN3. Like, no, he's going to be like, well, who's this guy? What's he making? Is he a right fit? How much does he cost? What's his, is he old? Like Zadarius just happened to be a very good fit and they needed him, and edges aren't available like that all the time. Teams don't trade those guys away if he's a decent player. Usually they just keep him. Unless it's a trash team like the Browns last year and they were just selling. Maybe
I'm interested this year who if you look at the teams that are at the bottom of the league so far, like teams that started 0-2 that are going to be down there, like who do you even think, like example, like the Giants, they do have a good D line. Do you think the Giants would sell?
Maybe the only player I think they would consider, because I don't think they'll pay him, is Kayvon. But is he the right fit for the Lions? They don't. I mean, I don't think.
That's a good question.
I don't think they would. And it'd be a rental basically, and he's making I don't know.
I do think, like, I see what you're saying. You don't think Brad would do it. I do think maybe Brad wouldn't do it because he's like so convinced that Hutch is going to be like, the guy and you don't need it. But I would, if I was Brad Holmes at the trade deadline, there are going to be edge rusher names that get brought up that are on the trade block. I would give up whatever you needed to.
Maybe the Bengals, not for the Lions. I don't think they'll do this, but the Bengals, I think, will probably trade Hendrickson, but you're not going to be in that conversation. So that's the only edge I'm thinking about that would be on the move. Like, I don't think any other teams are just trading edges like that. I mean, I don't think there's going to be really anyone. I mean, I say that now.
No, yes, and it's the same thing every year, Jeff. There are going to be edges available at the trade deadline. There will be. I thought last year was one of the years where there was the least amount of edges. Like Za'Darius was the best edge. I didn't think he was but the year before there were some bigger edges that were on the move, like Chase Young. There were guys on the move that
was the Montez Sweat year, I think. Too.
Montez Sweat, but I think the 49ers. Who did they give up a second-round pick for Chase Young? And it wasn't that great. I think that's something this year. If there's I'm not saying a Chase Young, but I'm saying that type of caliber of a player a couple of years ago, what he was, and he went in there and made a difference in the playoffs. I would give up a second-round pick for a guy who can get you, production going into the playoffs. I would do that this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Brad should want to do that as well because they had Joey Bosa too, or Nick Bosa. I apologize. They had Nick Bosa as well at that time.
Yeah, and they traded. It might have been a third. They traded like a second or a third round pick for Chase Young. But the point is, you never know. It's early to talk about those things. I just don't see Brad doing it personally, but who knows?
Probably won't, but he should.
Suspenseful Habit says New Orleans could move a piece because of their cap issues. Go get Carl Granderson.
Love that.
Now, Suspenseful Habits. Now you're cooking here. All right.
I like the Carl Granderson one. He's actually, I think, already has 2 sacks on the season. I think Carl Granderson's already been cooking. Yeah, he has 3.5 sacks so far through 2 weeks.
He's actually signed to a contract for 2 more seasons, I think. But
what's the price?
There's an out after this year. It's about 11 mil a year base salary. His cap hit next year. If you keep him, it'll be 18 million the last 2 years.
It's a big one.
So it's a big cap hit. Yeah,
it's a big cap hit. Yeah.
But you could get out of it. It could be like a Za'Darius situation. But you might have to eat a dead cat. I don't know. It's a tricky one there. I don't know. He's almost 30. So again, it's a tricky one. It's something to pay attention to. We'll see. I mean,
I hope they do. Listen, he probably won't, but he should.
Yeah, well, that's usually the case. Let's bring in our guest here, and he does some great work, man. He's the host of Locked On Ravens, and he's does stuff for the Ravens Wire as well. He's going to give us some insight on the Baltimore Ravens. And please tell me if I'm butchering your listen, people butcher my last name, Kevin. So I'm going to try. It's Kevin Oestreicher. Did I get that right? Okay. Yes. All right. Let's go. That's how you start the.
There we go, Jeff.
Please welcome to the show, Mr. Kevin Oestreicher. Kevin, how we doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. And, I appreciate you at least try. Some people just give up and say ostrich. So first try, I'm impressed. I love it. Let's go.
You know what? Ostrich. That is disrespectful. But Kevin, I won't do you like that. I do want to ask you though, Kevin, because I'm intrigued because we cover the Lions here, so we have so much limited information. The last time we faced you guys, we got a royal ass whooping. So we're trying to kind of get over that and kind of move to Monday Night Football. But can I just get your thoughts on just your perspective of what you kind of seen with the Lions? I know you have a 2-game sample size. You have week 1 where they look like a borderline playoff contender, and then week 2 where they blew out the Bears. And I understand it's the Bears, but what's kind of the vibe in Baltimore, kind of the outside looking at the Lions? Because all we know is hyping the Lions up and talking, a little more slappy. What's your guys' view on this team through 2 weeks, losing both coordinators in the offseason?
Yeah, I think for what the Lions have to offer, they're still, in my opinion, at least, and I think in a lot of people in Baltimore's opinions, one of the top teams in the NFC. I think that when you have a core with guys like Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously on the defensive side of the ball, you have plenty of talent there too. This is a team that I just think sometimes, early in the season, you sometimes have those week 1 overreactions. I think the Lions were the pinnacle example of that week 1 overreaction. Because look, I think when you play in a division that the Lions are playing in right now, which in my opinion is the best division in football currently, sometimes I think when you win as many games as the Lions did last season, and you've been as successful as the Lions have over the past couple of years, any little like, oh, the Lions lost this game by the Packers made them look like this. It's all of a sudden like, oh, the Packers with Micah Parsons, that's like the shiny new toy, right? That's what everybody wants to be talking about is, oh, they got
Right.
Micah Parsons and they're going to be the team that now dethrones the Lions. I think people are looking for reasons to dethrone the Lions. I don't, and I think a lot of people in Baltimore don't take that approach where we've been looking forward to this game here in Baltimore for a long time. We've had it circled on the calendar. Obviously, it's prime time under the lights, but I think while you have kind of like those two outlier games, I think the Lions sit pretty comfortably in the middle, and honestly, maybe more so towards that Chicago game, where I think both fan bases are probably in agreement here. The Lions are a much better team than the Browns, and the Ravens are a much better team than the Bears. So I think this is kind of like that measuring stick game of two contenders that are competing for a Super Bowl championship this season, and honestly, could be a Super Bowl rematch come February if everything works out for them.
So I'm talking
Hey,
about.
I want nothing more than for us to be able to be in February, have you back
Yes.
on the show and do a Super Bowl preview. Something I'm interested in with this game is there are so many different matchups when we're talking about like the Ravens secondary with the Lions weapons. We were talking about the Lions offensive line with the Ravens D line and vice versa. What do you think the biggest matchup is in this game that's going to make or break who comes out of this Monday Night Football with a win?
Yeah, I think for me, we saw the Ravens struggle with the Browns defensive front in week number 2. And while obviously I think there might not be a better defensive player in the league than Myles Garrett right now, what he brings to the table, I think that Browns front is sneaky good. The Ravens offensive line versus the Lions defensive front, in my opinion, is going to be the matchup that wins or loses both teams this game. I think both teams have to have a big game on that front, and whoever comes out on the short end of that stick might be looking at a very uphill battle there. Now, the Ravens have a couple of players that, have played well this season on the O-line and a couple that really haven't. I mean, you can look at a player like Roger Rosengard, a second-year offensive tackle for the Ravens, who has struggled a little bit in the run blocking department here. And even when you look at some of the tape, he got beat bad by a couple of Browns defenders in week 2. Andrew Voorhees, their second-year left guard, had a really rough time against that Browns front. Daniel Falele, I think, is a guy that in Baltimore a lot of people are worried about right now. And while his PFF grade, and I know some people like PFF in their grades, other people do not. But, I think to me, it's a good measuring stick. And Falele has had some good moments and some bad moments. So I think against the Detroit team, and I know the pass rusher situation, that's something that has to be figured out. I know Marcus Davenport's going to be a really big name to watch when it comes to this week. In my opinion, that trench battle to me is going to be the game, or going to be the matchup that wins or loses the game.
What about another matchup that I think is it's interesting because you bring up the defensive end 2 spot, which Lions fans obviously harp on. It's a big thing. It seems like our defensive end 2 spot is like your guys' cornerback situation with like injuries. And I guess it's kind of been the thing with the Ravens is people think that the secondary, not safeties. I mean, Kyle Hamilton's, if not the best, one of the best safeties in football. And Marcus Williams, I guess I don't know how he's been playing in Baltimore as much, but typically very good safety. What do you think about the Lions weapons matchup? That's one thing you could say about this Lions team, among others, is the receiving core they have among the running backs and everything. But matched up with that Ravens secondary, what kind of problems do you think the Lions could kind of pose on that front? What's your concern level there?
Yeah, what the Ravens have done a lot, and they drafted Malachi Starks in the first round of this past year's draft, and they've been playing him deep a lot, just single high. He's going to roam around the field, and that's something that the Ravens, they needed that skill set. And while Kyle Hamilton can do that, he's a jack of all trades player. They want to play him closer to the line because I think that's where he excels. Not that he doesn't excel in the back end, but you want to utilize his skill set in every possible way that you can, and Malachi roaming that part of the field frees up a lot of things. So for the Ravens, they are generally a team that does not let you beat them deep. And obviously we know the Jameson Williams, he has his speed, and he's going to be a guy that the Lions might try to break free on some of those deep routes. But for me, what the Ravens, and you talked about some of the injury situation, Marlon Humphrey suffered a groin injury in that week number 2 game against the Browns. His status is unclear for this game. Jair Alexander was not in game shape in Buffalo in week 1. He was one of the reasons the Ravens lost that game at the end with a couple of bad and even boneheaded plays. He didn't even play in the week 2 game against Cleveland because the Ravens want to make sure that he is ready to go and ready to play, as opposed to kind of just putting him out on the field at, 75, 80%, whatever it is. But when you have a team like the Lions do, and obviously everybody's going to be focused on Amon-Ra, and that's the guy that everybody's going to be focusing on. But even when you talk about Sam Laporta in that tight end room, like he's a guy, and sometimes the Ravens over the course of the last handful of years have had trouble covering running backs and tight ends out of the backfield. So obviously you factor in Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery in that running back duo. They're going to have to stop on the ground first of all. But the big part to me is being able to have, in the Ravens' perspective, their depth step up. So a guy like Chidobe Awuzie, who effectively, when everybody's healthy, is their fourth corner. DJ Tampa, who's a second-year player out of Iowa State. But then you also have some of those players in the Lions that are stepping up into bigger roles as well that you have to worry about too. So I truly think it's strength on strength when you talk about that matchup. And that, to me, that I think is going to be fireworks all across the board.
Yeah, another thing, Kevin, just defensively for the Ravens, I think one of the biggest storylines this week, Kyle Van Noy, most likely out. It sounded like for a few weeks for this Ravens defense. Who do you see kind of stepping up in his spot there, in kind of especially for the pass rush with Jared Goff last week? The Bears, I think the Bears had 2 pressures, 0 sacks, and 1 quarterback hit, and that offensive line here in Detroit kind of started to get back to a rhythm. How do you see kind of the Ravens pass rush getting back to it here with Jared Goff?
Yeah, assuming Van Noy does miss this game, which again, like you said, the reports are clearly indicating that it's going to be a few weeks. It'll probably be Mike Green, the Ravens' second-round rookie out of Marshall, that is going to take on much more of a full-time role. He's been someone that has had a part-time role because the Ravens right now, they have Odafe Owe, who's had a great start to the season. Tavius Robinson has played really well also. And then Van Noy is that like veteran guy who is still playing really good football. He struggled against Buffalo, but was playing really well against Cleveland before ultimately leaving the game and pulling up with his injury. But Green is someone who, I mean, he has all the traits. I think at this point, it's just an experience for him. I mean, we saw him back at Marshall and he was dominating competition, whether it was smaller schools. You can turn on the tape against Ohio State and he was putting those offensive linemen on spin move tapes in the whole 9 yards. So he's someone that can be a 3-down player. But obviously, I think this is the very early version of Mike Green. He's only played in 2 games and really hasn't had a major role before. So outside of that, they really don't have anybody else that can step up in that room. I mean, David Ojabo, their second-round pick from Michigan from a couple of years ago, would be the other guy. But he has been inactive the past 2 games and hasn't necessarily shown a lot after his unfortunate injury at his pro day. He really hasn't necessarily come back and shown anything after that. So honestly, what it could be is the Ravens on the interior have to pick up the slack for Kyle Van Noy in the pass rush department. Guys like Nnamdi Madubuike, Travis Jones, 6th-round rookie Aeneas Peebles has had a really strong start to his season too. So I think it'll be more so by committee to replace Van Noy is instead of that necessarily 1-for-1 replacement. But if you want to go there, I think Mike Green would be that guy.
Yeah, Kevin, you don't know this, but the last name Lions fans want to hear is Mike Green, considering people were pounding the table for this man. Oh, but it's funny. We don't need this man to have a great game. All right, that's the last thing. This city might erupt. Before we get you out of here, Kevin, can I get a score prediction from you for this Monday night? I know it's early, but what's a feeling you get? Maybe not a score, but just who wins the game. How do you think it goes?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is going to be a tale of 2 teams that I think, to me, are figuring out who they are at this point in the season. And again, the cores are intact. You've added pieces around these guys, around both quarterbacks and around both head coaches. And to me, it could come down to special teams. It could be that close of a game, in my opinion. I'm definitely expecting some fireworks throughout here. Early, it's honestly a toss-up. I'll say the Ravens edge this one out for now, and mainly due to the fact that I think that we saw in that Week 2 game, the Browns defense, they honestly got the better of the Ravens offense in a lot of different facets. And you look up, and Lamar Jackson has 4 touchdowns and the Ravens have 41 points. And you're like, oh, this was an off game. They have 40 points. So I think, to me, yes, the Lions are a better team than the Browns are by a pretty wide margin. But I think that with that, we're going to see offensive explosiveness. Defensively could just come down to the turnover battle as well. So right now, if I had to give a score prediction, I'll say 30-28 Ravens. Maybe it's a last-second field goal from rookie Tyler Loop, and he has his big moment against Detroit. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions found a way to squeak this one out too. I expect it to be really competitive.
It's like, hey, Boone, instead of Justin Tucker hitting a 99-yard field goal, now we got another guy crushing game.
He has the leg to do it too. So.
Yeah,
the Ravens just go from Justin Tucker to another great kicker, just like that.
How it goes.
It's ridiculous.
Jake Bates for freaking years. Kevin, appreciate you. Keep up the great work. You guys can check out Kevin, of course, on X at Oestreicher34. Check out Lockdown Ravens, especially this week. You're going to want to know some inside information. Kevin, we appreciate you, my friend, as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
There you
Appreciate
go.
it, Kevin.
Kevin Oestreicher joining the program, talking some Lions, Ravens. We will have John Maakaron joining us in a couple of minutes as well to kind of give his take on everything. Before we get to all of that, though, I do need to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper Fantasy. And by the way, you guys should be using Sleeper Fantasy, especially for this upcoming week. I'm sure if you guys are already signed up for Sleeper Fantasy, then you're in the right spot. Sleeper Picks is also a thing, but here you go with Sleeper Fantasy, a real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports. I'm telling you guys, Sleeper Fantasy, it's one of the most fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the entire world. They have over 6 million users as of in 2023, only continuing to grow. And then you have Sleeper Picks, which is a real money product that connects friends over picks. All you got to do is choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players. It could be from pregame, live, or even across different sports. You just pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts you share with your friends and get rewarded together. It's not just about sports. It's about building personal connections and lasting memories. And Sleeper does just that. All right, let's get back to the show as we wait on Mr. John Maakaron to join the show. By the way,
I think if he wants to get a new contract and the doc wants to raise his rate and all of this, I think we need to start finding him for being late, because he was late like 10 minutes last week, and now he's 3 minutes late today. So
the contract negotiations with the doc have gone south, and he is now waiting.
It's hard to do contract negotiations when he's late. What do we do? I mean,
hey, you know what the doc's doing? The old hold in. He's going to join the show, but he's still holding out. He's an expensive guy. A lot of teams are interested. You know, we're talking to his agent. His agent's also John Maakaron. It's the same guy. So let's bring him on. The publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated, the DOC, joins us every single Wednesday. Mr. John Maakaron. John, how we doing, my friend?
Listen, man, you got a guy on with the head of lettuce like that. Oh my God. That guy brought it. That was a great interview. I learned a lot about the Ravens, a little bit more than I knew, but let me tell you something. It is so unusual to me how all the journalists kind of feel the same way about that Week 1 Packers game. I view it completely different. It was the right reaction.
Yeah, it seems like the vibe, Doc, is this Ravens game, and we talked about it too. It's going to be a shootout. At least that's the vibe I'm getting early on. I talked to Boone about it. We kind of went through it. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. But before we get to the Ravens-Lions game, can I just get your thoughts on what transpired this Sunday? The Lions beat the absolute brakes off the Chicago Bears. What was John? I know you listened to Detroit Lions on SI. We read an article earlier talking about the Davenport injury and AQM. What'd you make? What was your takeaway from that 52-point performance and how the Lions looked? Because John, you joined the show last week. You demanded a lot out of Mr. John Morton, your fellow John. He responded accordingly, Mr. Maakaron. He did.
Absolutely. That's why it should be more mad. Listen, I'm not a fan like Cody in the chat who's a slappy and soft. I'm more of a guy that says, hey, if the Lions were able to do that against the Bears, why wouldn't they do that against the Packers? That's all. It should make people more mad. Remember, people reacted to a game that they lost 27-13 where they didn't score a point in the first half. Or they didn't score a touchdown in the first half. So that's all anybody wanted to know was, wait a minute, John Morton, please run your offense the way it's supposed to be run. That's it. And everybody with a brain that recognizes that this offense has a lot of talent, and if you run it right, keep the train on the tracks, use motion, explosive plays, find ways to get Jahmyr Gibbs out there off tackle, quite simple. So I'm very happy that they did it, and I'm glad that I got to maybe poke the bear a little bit with Dan Campbell and really ask him. The question was really simple. If you run your offense, it can be unstoppable, and that's what they did. They were able to get back to what they do well. So it should be frustrating. You remember, guys, they announced the schedule in April, May. So they had all that time to prepare for one team. And the first game plan was not great. It happens. But the reaction was proper. It wasn't going to be a season-long thing. Come on, guys, there's talent. But the reaction was, what the heck is going on? If you run that kind of game plan in a week, you're going to get destroyed. When you run the game plan properly and you execute, you score 52 points. kind of simple, right? Simple stuff.
Yeah, Doc, I do want to ask, I think a major thing this week, and I'm so interested to actually hear what you have to say about this, is the Marcus Davenport injury. It feels like a massive situation with the fact of Brad's talked about this edge room. Everyone in the media room, I feel like at one point in this offseason has asked Brad about the edge room. Zadarius Smith. Like, this has been, I know people are tired of hearing about it, but the reality of the situation is it has approached us to where there is now an injury with Marcus Davenport where they said he was in the best shape of his life. And now all of a sudden in week 2, he goes down with the injury and they're saying they need to get a second look at it, which probably is not a good thing. What are your thoughts on this whole situation here with the Marcus Davenport, the edge room? It doesn't feel, did you feel like this edge room, even without Marcus Davenport, AQM, and Hutch, do you feel like they've produced to where the expectation should be? And what are your just thoughts as a whole with this room?
Yeah, talking about the defensive ends, huh?
You have to.
I know we have to. I did a show this afternoon about it. It's interesting. Everybody's talking about it, fixated because Davenport got hurt again. And Adam, my co-host on the Doc and Jock, said 3 games, and he lasted 2. I'm hoping that because he didn't get put on IR, which is a key. You recall there was a report that came out yesterday with all the transactions. Tight end Shane Zylstra goes on IR. Davenport didn't. So that could indicate that if he is out, it won't be for too long, hopefully. So I'm very happy that potentially maybe you avoided something maybe long-term. But we'll see. The defensive end room, it is what it is. I've gotten to acceptance. I'm in the acceptance stage, because I've been talking about it. I've been asking Brad Holmes about the defensive end room since February. So I've kind of moved on from it a little bit, but I get the fans' passion. You should be passionate. It's a key position. And it's one in which Dan and Brad have fumbled it to the degree that I just think that they probably should have just found anybody but Marcus Davenport. Even if he's a good player, he goes somewhere else. I just think that the fan base doesn't trust him. And for whatever reason, the luck factor is not on his side. He's a good player, but I think the fan base just is not going to accept him until he has a breakout moment. Central fans like Cody, he watches a shitty team, so he doesn't see breakout performances. So I look at it like he needs a performance where he has 3 sacks that looks like a proficient football team. Central runs a ghetto football program and doesn't do anything when they're irrelevant. You know what I mean? So for fans of the Lions, they just feel like the opposite of Aiden is like a void, and they just need somebody to come out there and get 3 sacks opposite of Aiden, take the pressure off. It ain't happening yet. I get it. And you had Zadarius Smith. He goes to your competitor. So it's just all the recipe for the fans to be upset. I get it. Al-Quadin Muhammad is not going to make people calm down. And it's kind of funny that it's still something talked about. But that's the team's fault, that they've not done enough to shore up that position. You guys have talked about it. So when you guys were talking about it, I am smart, unlike any Central Michigan alums. I pulled up the available 2026 free agents that are defensive ends. Who's at the top of the list? Guess what? It's Trey Hendrickson. You could also go with Khalil Mack, Hassan Reddick, Joey Bosa, Malcolm Kuntz, Leonard Floyd, Danico Autry. I'll send you guys the link. There is a list of defensive ends who are going to be free agents in 2026. Nobody crazy on here that I would say go get, but maybe, a Kwity Paye who's 26 years old, Emmanuel Agba who's 31, Judon again next year. But you guys want relief this year. And I don't know. You have to wait and see until some teams fall off. But it's a position that I believe the fans should continue to critique. It's an important position. But the Lions are telling you, we're kind of role-playing it. And that's the way it is.
Well, Doc, what did you think? I want to ask you, because we talked about it yesterday. Just, I wouldn't say, I don't know, maybe you're at a different spot than I am with it. That's why I'm curious to get your opinion. But I'm not at a panic level yet. But Terran Arnold's been a little shaky to start the year. I think DJ Reed's been a little shaky. What have you kind of thought about both those corners? Because, and the reason why I'm not panicking quite yet is we've seen in training camp both of them play at a high level. But for whatever reason, that's kind of dipped. What has been your kind of thoughts on those two to start the year? And confidence that they'll bounce back, specifically TA, of course.
Yeah, look, TA, man, it's tough, man. That injury came at the wrong time. You just they're picking on him. That's unfortunate, is that teams are not viewing him as any strength in any kind of way. Gave up the touchdown and the bomb against the Packers, got picked on a little bit more against the Bears. It's not something that is a strength just yet, but it takes time. It's going to take time for a defensive, like I said, defensive backs, man, it's the toughest position in sports. It's one in which you got to adapt quickly. You got to really use all your fundamental skills. It's unrelenting. You give up a reception and fans are all over you. And man, it's tough because he's a first-round pick. So it comes with it expectations. We've seen that with Jeff Okudah. It didn't go right. But also, too, someone mentioned to me in the chat today on the very popular Lone Wolves podcast, this could go the way of Darius Slay and Rasheem Mathis, where it took him time. Darius Slay got benched in Detroit, and he ended up being good. It just takes time. It might even take another year for Terry and Arnold. It's unfortunate, but man, it's he's hurt. I mean, isn't that quite frankly what's going on? And man coverage is super tough. They run it quite a bit. They've weaved in a little bit more zone, but they want him to be physical. Press man corner is super tough because you only have a small window to get your leverage, and these guys can shed pretty quickly. I mean, these receivers are amazing. They're talented. They find ways to get open. They find their lanes. And also, too, these offensive coordinators like Ben Johnson and now hopefully John Morton can scheme these guys open. That's the name of the game. So it's just an unrelenting position, and he's got to make some plays. And, of course, what's wild is he makes a play, gets an interception, and then it gets taken off the board. That's a little bit unlucky. That's demotivating. That's demoralizing when you're a player. You're like, man, I'm trying my ass off to make plays, and I make one, and it gets wiped away. So that's tough, but he's a grinder. He's going to get after it eventually, just maybe a little bit later down the road. And who's the other player you were curious about?
DJ Reed. I know he's a little more. He has more reps in the league. Probably not as concerned about him, but
no, probably not as concerned. But I am concerned about the communication.
Yeah,
communication's key, and you never want to see Jack Campbell running alongside Rome Odunze in the zone. That was a funny play. I was standing right there as it went on. I'm like, that don't look right. And as it went down, you see Jack Campbell running after Rome Odunze. I'm like, this is not how that play was supposed to be designed.
Yeah,
they exploited miscommunication in the zone, and that was wild to see. But Rome Odunze had a good game. It's something that I do think will get cleaned up. This is one of those things with defense. It's, you can give them a little bit more grace because of the fact that you're trying new things, a little bit more zone at times. You're running Aaron Glenn's defense, but a little bit of a variation with a little bit more aggression and stunts and some blitzes from different spots. So you give them a little bit more grace, but at this point in time, it's time to graduate because you're playing the Ravens. So DJ Reed, I think, is a great veteran. He's underrated, and I do think he's acclimated pretty well. And the defense has been okay. But look, the game against the Bears was amazing because I think that's kind of fundamentally how the Lions view it. Like, hey, we can go dominate teams offensively and just have the defense kind of complement you. I'm not a fan in any capacity of the strategy where if the Lions win the coin toss, take the football on offense every single game the rest of the year. Your strength is your offense. That's the thing that was historic last year that prompted me to ask the best question of the week last week, which was, hey, basically run your offense. If you run the John Morton offense, we will all be happy. If you run whatever that was against the Packers, dink and dunk and pray you score touchdowns and let the Packers dictate to you, if you run that in Baltimore, you're going to lose by 3 touchdowns. The Lions lost 27-13. Remember, boys, NFL games typically, by and large, over 86.5% are determined by 1 score or less. They're mostly competitive. It's a parity-driven league. When you lose 27-13, that's an epic failure of execution. That's an epic failure of coaching strategy. And that's not good for week 1. I don't care about all the people that say, well, it takes time. It takes a month. No, it doesn't. There's 17 games. It's a division game, and you lost it. And you gave the Packers confidence. So all the negatives don't go away because you say it goes away. So in the end, I'm very thankful that the slappies versus the realists are having realistic discussions and talking about it. But my God, the slappies did not like the fact that people were talking bad about the Lions after a bad performance. Well, guess what? If the Lions play bad, people are going to talk bad about them. That's just the way it goes. Grow up and man up. This is football. This isn't Central Michigan football. This is the NFL.
Let them know, Doc. Come on now. I want to ask you, I know you already spoke about the offense as a whole, just more specifically on Sunday versus the Bears. I do want to get your thoughts on the offensive line, more specifically interior, Tate Ratledge, Christian Mahogany, Graham Glasgow. How did you feel coming out of that Chicago's Bears game? I mentioned earlier in the show, I think they gave up 2 pressures, 0 sacks, and 1 quarterback hit. So it was an impressive outing. Do you still think there's room to improve for this offensive line? And where do you think they kind of stack at right now in the NFL after that week 2 performance?
Yeah, Tate Ratledge is still learning, going through growing pains, missing blocks at times. But, man, the tight ends were blocking at a great rate, man. They got back to their fundamentals. And guess what? Like I said, football is not really a super overly complicated sport. I mean, people that say, I don't know ball, I figured out pretty quickly they were going to run it through the perimeter. That took like literally 1 film session to realize, running it through the interior, which I accurately reported all throughout training camp was a problem, was pretty much an easy plan. And I said publicly, for those that are not stupid and get blocked, that they're going to set up the run through the pass. It was quite frankly quite easy, because the Bears defense was susceptible to that. And you're a passing offense. I mean, come on. It doesn't take much. Run your offense, play well. Now, it all starts with your offensive line, and it involves communication, which you can do so much better at home. So it's an unbelievable opportunity for Tate Ratledge to continue to develop, but he whiffed on some blocks, kind of in some areas, caused some disruption, but it's fine. It's all learning. He definitely can get to the second level. He definitely is a road grader. The first and foremost, we start with the most important, most precious thing that they could do: block for Jared Goff in the passing attack. Make sure your pass defense is amazing, and it was. Goff, I think his jersey was clean. They did not allow the Bears to sniff Jared Goff. That's perfect. Now, the run blocking, very consistent, very much in line with what everything needs to be done, but they ran the zone concepts. But again, the interior is not that the interior running plan is not great. They tried it, but they can get better at it. It's not their strength, but you saw what they were able to do early on. They ran, off tackle. They ran some zone things. They ran some amazing run concepts that was going to work for them. So basically, why everybody was mad at week 1 was, hey, you kind of found the strengths of your offense and you got back to it. That's all anybody ever asked for. And man, Jahmyr Gibbs was after it. You love and respect Brock Wright and Sam Laporta for blocking and to be amazing in that sense. Penei Sewell looked like himself. And man, my goodness. But Tate Ratledge is going to grow on the job. But nothing wrong with his performance. He's got to work on his run blocking and his concepts and his communication. That will get better. But this is a step up in competition this week. So I'm very impressed with what they were able to do. As much as you could be frustrated with week 1. And remember, guys, Dan Campbell said it. This is not Michigan State Spartan football, Central football. This is not the MAC. This is NFL, a Super Bowl caliber team that should be picked apart, because in my honest opinion, this football team with that capability that returned 9 out of 10 out of 11 starters and added a weapon in Isaac Tesla, that offense should be purring right now. And I want to see it again against the Ravens. So in my humble opinion, it was analyzed accurately. Now, you're not going to extrapolate. The outside world outside of Detroit is going to extrapolate that the Lions offense is going to fall apart. Your last guess said people were looking for things that they were going to fall apart. No, they were looking for, hey, when you're given the keys to a Ferrari, you don't go 40 miles an hour. You kind of throttle it up to 80 and you do it really quickly. And John Morton figured it out in game 2. No problem. I'm very much impressed that he was able to figure it out. And listen, 50 points is 50 points, but it was still the Bears, and everybody knows they're dysfunctional.
Yeah, Doc, I want to bring up the NFL Offensive Player of the Week, Jared Goff, and with just the narrative with Ben Johnson, kind of get your thoughts on that, because I think the national narrative for people was Jared Goff needs Ben Johnson, but after Sunday, it seems like now people are like, well, maybe Jared Goff doesn't need Ben Johnson. Maybe Ben Johnson needs Jared Goff just as much as Jared needs Ben Johnson, apparently, because Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams aren't gelling as quickly as people expect. And I think Ben was very lucky to have a quarterback like Jared, as accurate as he is. So what's your take on that narrative and Jared's performance against an OC that many people think he needs in order to have success?
Yeah, well, look, okay, the whole world predicted the Lions were going to win against the Bears. Why? Because Ben Johnson, I believe, is going to be successful. But remember Dan Campbell, who was a former coach, was it first year, won 3 games? It takes time. First and foremost, the first sign that's not great is that game was important personally to the coach. That coach wanted to win against the Lions. And his team, once they faced a little bit of adversity, rolled over. They couldn't handle it. It would be like guys in the chat for the first time having the national media make fun of them. They probably cry to their mom. It happens to me all the time. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? You can just block people and move on. You know, people that want to debate normally stay on board. Those that talk stupid and act stupid get blocked. It's pretty straightforward. I've been critiqued since 2013 for starting a podcast. So the heat was great. It was great to talk about with this Detroit Lions football team. And I just look at it from the perspective of this team is one of those teams that I really respect that can do a lot of different things. And they have the talent. They have all the talent in the world to be able to succeed at the highest level. But the thing that people were looking at was how would minor adjustments with John Morton and Calvin Shepard influence the team? And with Ben Johnson, look, guys, here's my overall thoughts on it. I think GMs, if you want to ask me free advice, I think you need a former player to get the galvanize a room. You need a former player like Dan Campbell that you have a bad loss. You have reporters asking you, why aren't you just repeating what works? You have the national media just going wild and talking about you. He comes out and he just guarantees a win. And the guys psychologically ran through a wall for him. That didn't happen for Ben Johnson. The exact opposite happened. Why? He's got the Matt Patricia syndrome where he talks a big game, but he doesn't have the credibility. If you're going to talk a big game, you got to back it up. I talk a big game, I back it up. Ben Johnson talks a big game. He rolls into Detroit in a game where psychologically it's important to him. His team rolls over. It's going to take time. And today, look what happens. He's already publicly trashing his team, saying they're not practicing hard. Those are all things you never say out loud because that just makes me laugh at him. That just makes the whole world look at you and go, how did you field a team that doesn't practice hard? That's an issue with your GM. That's an issue with your organization. That puts you like I know he took some of the blame, but you're calling out your team publicly. That's gutsy because you can lose an NFL locker room just that quickly. And you lost 52-21 and got spanked. Guys, you can be an offensive genius, but nobody picked the Bears to be top of the division. Most people picked them 3rd or 4th. They think that they think that he's a guy that in the future could do some things. But right now there's already question marks about Caleb Williams. DJ Moore maybe is one of those guys that's a vet that's not in favor with the coach. So NFL head coaches are unbelievably challenged in their job. It's a thankless job, but I feel like first and foremost, Dan Campbell is X's and O's wizard. He's an offensive genius. And also, too, you hold him to the standard of a genius. And when a genius puts out 13 points, we ain't happy. And Ben Johnson, I think, needs to, I'm always of the opinion you needed to have your GM with you to get the players that you want. If you don't got guys that practice hard, that's the toughest thing. The first thing I looked for when I was hiring Vito and Christian was, can you grind? Can you face the heat? Can you take me constantly telling you to write better, write faster, write more interesting content, write with less errors that I have to read over? And they did it quickly. And I've had the same staff for 5 years. And I'm not, I think 7 years, all 7. I think 6. Christian's one of the rare people from Central that can accomplish things. And I'm very, very happy with how things are going. But Ben Johnson, man, guys, there's question marks already. And yeah, everybody realized he was downgrading from Jared Goff to Caleb Williams. Everybody knew that.
Doug, before we go to this Ravens game, I know we're going to transition here to talk this week's game and confidence level on that. I do want to get your confidence level now following week 2 after the Chicago win for this team, not only just to maybe be a contender for the Super Bowl, but as well as to win the NFC North with how good the Packers look. What is your confidence level currently now after week 2?
Yeah, first and foremost, look, it's still the Bears. They were terrible. Journalists are doing 3-part exposés on Ryan Poles being a horrible GM. That was awesome to me, which was funny because as I'm reading I was following along the expose about how awful the Bears were last year, how their organization is ran. And then I'm reading in the local media, we got to give the Bears a lot of respect. They're a good football team, and it's still the Bears. And I'm just laughing going, are you guys reading anything? Like, the Bears are terrible. You had people predicting 3 and 4 score touchdown leads. So it's funny to do that, to overpraise positive, but then get a little ruffled when people talk negative. You know, it's still the Bears. They're awful. They're in a rough spot, so you can dismiss them. Man, J.J. McCarthy maybe went to the wrong university if, you know, an ankle injury is going to take him out pretty fast, and they're already going to somebody else. I was like, damn, that was a pretty fast hook. Kevin, he was like, Justin Jefferson, I think, did the Godfather mode and was like, Kevin, that shit ain't going to work for me, bro. That guy's not going to work for me. That guy can't throw the football. That guy can't read anything. I don't know what that guy's all about. I think they threw him into the fire a little too soon. He needed to be on the 3 to 4 years sit on your ass plan, but they didn't do it. And he butchered the offense the first 2 years, and they're going to somebody else. The Lions and the Packers. I love it. I can't wait for the next matchup. Listen, that first game in the end for the Lions is a pass. The reason Dan got mad because he and John Morton put their heads together and came up with a dud. It was not the right game plan. Everybody knew it. You can say I'm a troll. You can say I didn't say things properly. But let's just say former NFL linemen watched the film and said, oh my God, the Lions' rushing attack and scheme looked so much more sophisticated, so much more involved, and route concept looked so much better in week 2 than week 1. But that's fine. I knew somebody was going to say it. It doesn't have to be me. You know, I'll just ask it. I used to remember, I didn't say do it. I said, is it feasible? Feasible, meaning, is it possible? So it is possible because you just ran your offense this week that we all wanted you to run week 1 against a team that has momentum. So it is possible. The Lions can run their offense, and I'm excited to see it. If John Morton gets a grasp, and guys, pay attention. I'm loving Jared Goff going on all these podcasts. He's just comfortable now. His checks are rolling in heavy. He's a new dad. He's got a new lease on life, and he's sitting there going, John Morton's a perfectionist. He'll light people up. He's angry. He wants things to be done right. I love that. So John Morton let out a little bit of the anger, let out a little bit of the beast on me. Can we move on from the Packers? He's trying to calm it down. He's an angry coach. I love it. Him and Calvin Shepard and Dan Campbell all yelling at the players. I think we've been wanting this our whole lives in Detroit. Accountability. You play bad, you get talked about. You play good, figure out how to do better the next time. I love that. I love the coaching staff. But in the end, you grade them hard. That's the way you're supposed to do. And Dan Campbell invited it, which is, hey, this ain't soft NFL anymore. This is the Detroit Lions, where every move is analyzed, every decision is looked at, scrutinized top to bottom, and this is the best team to cover it this way. Listen, if you want to play it's just 1 week, they're all just missing assignments, they were just having a bad day. Well, that's too bad. This is Detroit. Remember, the Detroit fans decided to tell one of their own that left for $13 million a year to go F off publicly. That's what I'm talking about. Detroit ain't nice. Detroit can be rough. Give them some alcohol, and the slappies kind of fall by the wayside. Detroit's a rough and tumble Philly kind of town, and that's what I'm saying. And I'm very happy. I feel like the Lions are in the mix. They still are. Like I said, I had them at 10-7. I still feel like, and also too, some luck is helping them. Ravens, you have a chance without Kyle Van Noy. Next week, you get the Browns. Then the week after, you get a Joe Burrow-less Bengals team. Maybe the universe early on is conspiring to help this Lions team. I'm very, very happy with what they can do. And you guys said it. Maybe at the trade deadline, we can all yell at the top of our lungs, Brad, add right pieces. Add the right pieces at the deadline. It's a long season. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, Doc, we can get into it. Lions, Ravens. I just want, because we have 2 games. We have a game where they looked awful, the week 1 performance. And then week 2, they put up 52 points against the Bears. Look good. They played a great complimentary football. Look good on all 3 phases of the game. What does it do for your confidence heading into Baltimore to face a Ravens team that is going to be difficult to match up with, and a Ravens team that did beat them, but it was a different time. They have some other good players than they had previously, although they have new coordinators. But what does that do for your confidence heading into Baltimore to face the Ravens and Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, look, man, the Ravens have always been stout. John Harbaugh is going to have the team prepared. Listen, man, the equalizers, Lamar Jackson, his numbers are sick, bro. They're just amazingly well. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be one in which a lot of people think it's going to be a game like 30-27, kind of in that category. I feel like this is one maybe you kind of go back to old school, which is the best defense for Lamar Jackson is keep his ass on the bench. And what does that mean? David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs kind of run the ball 3-4 yards a clip, control the game a little bit, take chances, but not as many. Your guest said it. The Ravens are not going to let the Lions, for the most part, go over the top crazy. You got Kyle Hamilton, who a lot of people are talking highly of, and he thinks highly of himself. I'm very curious how that defense is going to attack the Lions, but it's great that they don't have Kyle Van Noy. And it's gonna. I don't think Mike Green's going to have an impact. I feel like the Lions will scheme. The best thing for them: a lot of screens, short intermediate passes, but not dink and dunk. Take some chances. Take 1 or 2 shots just to see. Maybe Tesla gets in this week in the intermediate with some crossing routes. But first and foremost, this is a game that I believe John Morton has to pull out a little razzle dazzle. The defensive coordinator of the Ravens is going to understand everything that the Lions are about. This is one of the ones where maybe third down and 3, everyone thinks it's just going to be a simple handoff or a short pass to Laporta. Maybe you do a little bit of a razzle dazzle situation, something to get the Ravens a little bit to question what's going on, get them on their heels. I hope the Lions get the football first in however many ways it gets there. If they win the coin toss and take the football, I hope they get out to an early lead. You get that turnover and you play from ahead. I think the game shakes out better. If you're playing from behind and you got to force, you got to deal with that crowd and, calls going against you. You don't want Lamar Jackson. It's just, to me, I am scared of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Man, it's a tough thing, man. It's going to be a test for Tyleek Williams and DJ Reader to maintain their gap responsibility and stay in it. But they got Roy Lopez and Mekhi Wingo in the mix as well. I just want to see, my philosophy would be take Derrick Henry out of the game, understand and make Lamar Jackson one-dimensional. You keep him contained as much as possible. He's going to get something. But if you can kind of muck this up, maybe keep it a game like 23-20 and you have less possessions, then I don't know if at this stage, just with a new play caller, can he keep up with the Ravens in a shootout? I don't know, because you're on the road. It's a marquee game. They're looking at you as a test for them as well. It's on the road. So you got to pull out all the stuff. You got to play well. You just can't nilly-nally this one. You have a good offense, but you got to step up on defense in a way as well. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see who in the end executes better. I feel like the game plan will be good and solid. It won't be what you saw against the Packers, which was way too conservative. And listen, your ballers got to be ballers. And my goodness, what is it? There's a 20-year streak going on, something going on with the Lions and the Ravens. It's just they're 6-1. What is it? 6-1 all time. Whew. Detroit's only win was 20.
Yeah, Justin Tucker had a 98,000-yard field goal, whatever it was, like twice. I mean, happens.
It's you want you, and I love it. I think this could be a Super Bowl preview. You want to get after it to a degree that people talk about you seriously, and I hope they do. And you can still get away with that with a loss. Like if you lose, 30-27, it's back and forth, and you just can't lose, 35-13. You just can't get embarrassed out there, because then the talk will be, okay, you're not in the upper echelon. Right now, people still have that hope that it's, basically Bills, Ravens, Lions, Eagles, Rams. You're still hanging on in that top 5 category. You can get blown out pretty quickly if you don't compete and have a good showing against the Ravens. But they have to. I feel like primetime Lions show up, and I want to see. I kind of have a feel maybe it's going to be like it was in the opener a couple years ago, where everyone thought Kansas City was going to dominate, but the Lions fought hard and won it by scoring 20. I hope that I would love it. 2017, grind it out. and silence the crowd at Baltimore, I think there's a chance. I do think there's a chance to win this game more than people are talking about it as we speak. We still got to see about Marcus Davenport. We have not seen a practice yet, and we haven't seen any inclination of what the coordinators are thinking yet. So this is all the early week talk, which I love, the way a Monday night game. And I will be able to, because I'm a successful podcaster, I'm flying out to Baltimore. I am going to expense it. And so I'm going to be out there, and me and Lamar are going to celebrate whatever happens, and I'm going to talk trash to him, and he's going to learn about the Doc swagger, and I'm going to hang out with the stars. It's going to be me, Lamar, and Goff partying at the club in Baltimore before I come back.
Here we go. Oh my gosh, Doc. Doc, I'm sure you're going to have a great time in Baltimore. It seems like a fun city. I do want to ask you, though, kind of more specifically. I know you kind of gave a rundown of how you feel about the game. More specifically, I do want to get your confidence level with this kind of Detroit Lions up front defensively when it comes to stopping Lamar and Derrick Henry. We know kind of how good Derrick Henry can be and how good he is, and same with Lamar, especially with his legs. Are you confident that they're going to be able to at least, let's just stop one of them and kind of limit what one of them can do versus defense?
Yeah, man. It's interesting, too, because they if you saw the snap counts, every week, Christian does a great job reviewing the snap counts and what the takeaways are. You kind of did some mixing and matching after week one. You felt like DJ Reader needed a little bit of a reduction to get the most out of him, and you upped Wingo and Roy Lopez. I'm concerned. I mean, look, man, it's if there was a formula to stop Lamar Jackson, people are wondering who's going to ask Calvin Shepard on Friday about, QB spy. I don't know. Maybe it'll be me. Maybe it'll be somebody else. But I think the way the media is going to try to spin it is, we know, Calvin, you don't like the QB spy, but what are the advantages you think to have, an opportunity to contain Lamar, and how important is that going to be? They're going to try to throw it in there. We'll see. It might be the team that does it right away first and just says, Calvin, we know what you think. And I'm curious to see how they do it. Listen, containing Caleb Williams is one thing. Containing Lamar Jackson is a whole other thing. He's just shifty. He's very smart, and the man can be elusive. I'm more of the opinion you try and just stop Derrick Henry, but that's also a challenge in of itself. The man's a beast. I'm loving Tyleik Williams, what he's able to do. I feel like so far so good. He's acclimating to his responsibilities on a consistent basis. He's got to step it up even more. This is one of those games where Aiden's got to also be, fighting off whatever he's got to fight off. He's got to have impact. You got to maintain your edge. And there was a couple great plays where Tyrion, for the most part, struggles keeping the edge when it's his turn. But there was a couple reps where he did it flawlessly. You got to be more consistent. Contain. The big C word you're going to hear this week is contain. You got to contain him. You got to limit him. He's going to move around in the pocket, but he just can't go from 8 yards to 80. And Dan Campbell said this before. This has been the standard cry. This would be like the 20th time I've heard a talk about an elite mobile quarterback. It's just going to be maintaining your edge responsibilities, keeping contained. Don't let 5-yard runs become 55-yard runs, and fly to the football. If they can do that, let's say I think Lamar gets his. I think he'll run for 80 yards, but he'll also turn the ball over because the Lions will have a lead. He'll press a little bit because it's prime time. He wants to show off for the doc and all the ladies at the club we're going to hang out with. So he's going to throw 2 turnovers. He's going to throw 2 picks. And the Lions are going to take advantage. And why are they going to take advantage? Because even though they scored 50 points, Dan went on the radio today and said, this is a point of emphasis. If this football team gets turnovers, we need points. And if Mr. Dan Campbell emphasizes something, this team's going to listen.
Doc, don't forget to ask about the quarterback spy as well, because we know Calvin Shepard is going to want to hear that. Let me ask you about a player that's just continues to make plays. Isaac Tesla, another one-handed catch. What have you kind of made of his first 2 games? I know they're giving him more snaps, but it seems like they just can't keep this guy off the field, Doc. He seems to be a legitimate weapon out there for the Lions.
Right. Man, I want to see more of him. Look, I want to see him catch the ball. I want to see a nice slant pass where he uses 2 hands and just gets a normal catch. Everything's been highlighted so far, and that those require stories. Every one-handed grab is going to require a story from the doc, and I'm like, oh my God. But it was such a great – I'm like, dang, Christian, that was a one-handed grab. That was right in front of me too. I tend to sit in the end zone. And that was awesome. So I'm very impressed.
Did you know, Doc, he has as many catches in the NFL as he does hands he used to make those
Right?
catches.
Listen, all he does is make spectacular catches, man. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be, when he gets it rolling, my goodness, he could be an asset in the playoffs, man. I'm excited. I think everybody's excited for him. And it's at least early on paying dividends for the team to trade up, 31 spots, 32 spots for him. Well worth the investment in my mind. He's got the swagger. I just think that there are certain guys that walk in that got confidence. I asked him about his golf game one time, and he was just like, "Yeah, I can golf. I can do it."
Oh, he's nice at golf, Doc.
He's not. He just walks in with that air of confidence. He's youthful. You like it. You like that pro swagger. I'm gonna ask about it too. He let it loose too. He was in San Francisco watching the Lions lose to the 49ers. I was like, oh man, he felt the pain. That's beautiful. That's awesome. He knows he's already in it. He's in the ditch with us. I want to know what it felt like. I want to know what he was going through when he was sitting as a fan watching that. And he's in it. He's all about it. He's a Lion. And man, what you respect about him is that he blocks. He does everything that's told of him, and he's got a little bit of a swagger. I mean, he's like already saying things like that are quotable. He's like, man, I got to make sure Amon-Ra gets his sweet tea or my man's cranky. That was funny. And he's comfortable with himself. And I'm very much liking the fact that he's available to talk in the media. And he's also, listen, early on, he's being free to say whatever he's got to say. And I'm very excited that, he hasn't turned PR a little bit yet. And the youthful innocence is great with Isaac TeSlaa. He's got energy. And listen, man, the guy can ball. He can ball, take advantage of his skills as he develops, as he expands his route tree. The blessing is, as they keep saying it, what's going to happen is naturally, here's the progression. Eventually, in a couple of weeks, probably, he'll be maybe a first or second target in the read progression. And that'll be great, where Goff will look to him and he'll have to showcase, all right, I'm hitting my landmark. I'm hitting my spot in the route. And if Goff gets that trust with TeSlaa, boom, you can shatter some of the expectations. Maybe he'll get to 600, 700 yards later in the year, because this offense, if John Morton wants to be explosive, let's bring out the TeSlaa party and let's see what goes on.
Doc, before we get to no, go on, Boone.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about Jack Campbell. I wanted to get your feelings on how Jack Campbell, obviously a lot of expectations for him this year. What are your thoughts on how he's been through 2 weeks so far?
Yeah, look, I think I heard it correctly, but I listened to pretty much everything, but sometimes you double check. But I heard on the pregame, it was said that Jack Campbell now is wearing the green dot, but Alex Anzalone is still heavily involved in the communication. I feel like, he's got to work on things in coverage. Look, man, sure tackler. The defense is flying to the football. Here's the problem. They got to work on their aggression when they're rushing to the quarterback. Like, they're getting blocked. They're getting chipped. They're easy to kind of move off of. And look, man, it's credit to the offensive line. Kelvin Shepard is trying stunts. He's trying to bring pressure from a myriad of different ways. It's tough. It's a tough spot because teams now are scheming to try and maneuver and manipulate the Lions linebackers out of the way. It's tough, man. It's smart. Ben Johnson was able to do that a couple times, but once the Lions got the turnovers, that's the key, is they fly to the football, try to force turnovers, and that's the key. But there's still some errors going on and things early on in communication that they got to iron through. But first and foremost, the defensive coordinator wants the linebackers to get home. Like, he doesn't care if your assignment is to blitz, you got to get home. And Jack Campbell is not happy with his progress so far. He said the first part of the year, I'm not getting home enough. I'm not doing the job to the degree in which I feel I can do better. And you hope that those opportunities in coverage continue to evolve and get better. But look, man, the guy's a leader. The guy is, look, man, he was dealing with something. He got out there and he's a warrior. He's got the grit mentality. You like him being the leader. You just got to get, once the season gets into the flow, this is a big test. He's got to be responsible to make sure that him, Alex, and Derek got to be responsible that those intermediate passes, you got Zay Flowers, you got Mark Andrews. I don't want to see Mark Andrews taking over this game. You got a lot of good players on the Ravens, and it's going to involve a lot of decent communication. If they don't get it right on the road, things can go south pretty quickly.
Doc, I'd love to get your score predictions. How do you see this game kind of going? And what's the final score for you? You got the Lions winning or not?
Okay. I was the catalyst. According to certain national shows, I was right. I poked the bear. The bear responded. And they ripped the head off the Bears. So the offense woke up. The offense woke up. Yeah, they need to be poked. The offense woke up. They actually ran the John Morton offense, which everybody wanted to see. What do you know? Motions, runs, explosives, touchdowns. They ran the Lions offense. They're going to run the Lions offense one more time. They're going to play great. They're going to prove to the world that this is a team that's worth the positive praise. This is a team that deserves positive accolades. John Morton is going to earn the stripes again. He's been given the tools, and now he knows how to use them. That Packer, you get a pass. But you still got a direct question, but you get a pass. The Bears been poked. The Lions are aware, we don't get 4 games anymore. Now at this schedule, you don't get 4 games. Tell the slappies can go sit down and twiddle their thumbs and be like, oh my God, what's going on here? They're talking bad about our Lions. It's really bad. People critique them. They're not universally praised anymore. No, they're not. You know how you get universal praise? It's not by beating down a crap team that's restarting. You go to Baltimore and you shut up the Baltimore fans. You go to win. And so I got this being a mid-tier game that the Lions play clean. They get their turnovers. They execute. So I would say it's the Detroit Lions 27 and the Baltimore Ravens 24 in overtime. Let's just keep me in Baltimore till 2:00 in the morning. I got the Lions winning. They grind it out. They play well. They have the talent overall, and that talent makes plays. I think the Ravens are young in the secondary. Jared Goff will pick it apart, and I think that they got to pass the ball. Now, John Morton has to keep that aggression going. You got to have a trick play or two. You got to have something different. It has to all work together. Bates has to be successful. This one is going the Lions' way. You beat the elites, you get respect. That's the way it goes.
Now, Doc, we do have some questions from the people here that I do want to get to. We'll start with Ghetto Boy Juan. He says, Mailbag, Doc, do you think a win over at USC this Saturday will put MSU in the top 25?
What is going on with Ghetto Boy Juan? Every time I'm in a flow and I'm positive, he wants to bring up the Spartans. We are 18-point underdogs. It's basically the Spartans and the Chippewas all in this mishmash of irrelevancy. Look, if they can just cover, I mean, literally the Spartans take the field and 3 guys get hurt on every play. And what pisses me off is I try to stay away. I try to say, you know what? I can't divulge all that time to football. And yet I sit there and watch the Spartans not be able to sack a Youngstown quarterback. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I cannot see the Lions sack a quarterback. I don't know what that is that the Spartans are running on defense. My favorite player is Nick Marsh. He gets hurt. I'm like, why is this happening? If they win against USC, I'll be shocked. It would be like Cody having a good take for once.
No, don't do Cody like that, man.
I'm calling for a loss. I'm calling for a blowout.
All right, you guys are sick. Shout out Cody, by the way. He just caught a Doc stray. Austin says, "Hey Doc, are the Lions? What's going on with this Ahmed thing? We were trying to break it down, Doc. You're better at this. Like, what? How does this work with Ahmed?
What's the timeline and all of that?
Yeah. There's rules, and so, what happens is that there's only so many IR returns you get in a year. I think the number's 8. So the Lions used them all last year. So they wanted to keep that number up there. So they moved on from Ahmed with the idea of bringing him back. Now, here's the issue. Let's say the timeline is 7 weeks. Let's say he misses all of September and into October. Once he's eligible to return, whatever that day is, let's say 7-8 weeks, he's got to also stay away for an additional 3 weeks because of the injury settlement. So it's plus the injury time plus 3 weeks. So, you guys were right talking earlier. It could be in the middle of the year. Remember, if you just go by what Brad Holmes said, that we like the guy, they scouted him, he's going to be a Lion. So at this point, it would seem like Ahmed Hassanin is a Warrior Lion, and he'll come back after 3 weeks past the time he's ready to come back.
There you go. Mr. John Maakaron, we appreciate that out of you, my friend. You're a tough cookie to negotiate with, but you're great at what you do. So we'll figure it out. You guys can check out the Doc on X at Detroit Podcast. Check out Detroit Lines on SI as always. Doc, we'll talk to you next week. All right. Keep crushing it. And you're going to Baltimore, so be safe.
When do you fly out?
I fly out early Monday morning. So
day of.
doing it that way. Yeah. I got family stuff over the weekend. I'm going to enjoy football, and it's going to be fun. It'll be a long day, but Doc can handle it. I can handle the work. It's an easy thing to do. I'm very much happy to get out to a couple more games this year. It's in the budget, and I got to do it, because if I don't get some of these expenses, then it just comes out of my pocket in the form of taxes. So I gotta do it, and it's great to do. It's fun to do, and just real fast for those that wonder, I just don't like Cody because he's a Chippewa, and once I saw CMU, it just felt gross to me, so I just blocked him just because. Listen, Chippewas are scummy. They're not that intelligent. And
both of my older brothers went to Central.
They cheat. Guys, it's a bit, but I don't. They had the guy on the sideline for the Spartans. I hate the Chippewas. They don't have accountability. They suck on the field, and their journalism program is whack. See you later.
Hey,
that felt like a big one,
Mr. John Maakaron.
That felt like a bit. That felt like a big shot.
Yep, it was a big shot. Jim Costa.
There's some Terry Foster, Central Michigan.
Yeah, Terry Foster, Jim Costa. Both my brothers went there. They did not finish, but they did go there. They did go to Central. They did a lot of other things, but study. But you know what? I will say Central Michigan, very fine university. All right, very fine university.
Yeah, I've been up there a couple times. I used to go up there when I was in Saginaw. We would make the trip up to Central. I've been there a couple times. It's a nice place. They have a nice casino up there as well.
That's actually fun fact. I don't think I've ever told you this. I after high school, I went to Specs Howard. If I didn't go, I would have went to Central. That would have been the school I went to. It's easy.
Congrats,
dude.
To
get in. It's easier.
Congrats on would have gone there.
That would have been the only school that I would have. If I would have went to college, that would have been the school I went to.
Okay.
So I did take a little offense to what Mr. John Maakaron said there.
I don't think you're allowed to take personally offense. You actually didn't go there.
Well, it's in the family, so I felt I'm defending my brothers here. Defending my brothers here.
I do like Central. I've been up there a million times. There's a lot of spots up there, and as well as the casino. So I've had a lot of good times at Central.
Yeah, Michael, love the Central party. Yeah, a lot of things go down of things going on over there, man, in Central. We got about 5 minutes left, or 6 minutes left. Drop your questions, mailbag. We got some time left before the show ends. What happened? What's going on with? So you want to talk about? I mean, what's going on with these Tigers, huh? I
think they're losing again. It's
they're down 4-0 to the
4-0, and then the Guardians are the team that's trying to catch them.
Yeah,
so you're in a bit of a pickle. I mean, they're still 5.5 games ahead. Guardians win this one, they're 4.5 ahead. I think maybe there's 9 or 10 games left. I'm not saying that they're going to lose the division, but I think the magic number might have been 7 going into this series, and they had 11 left, and they've lost 2 of them so far. So like the magic number is, we're getting close. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they should have wrapped this thing up a couple weeks ago. Maybe get a couple games versus the Marlins would have been sick. Maybe not lose 2 straight to the Cleveland Guardians. It's tough, man.
Yeah, and you saw yesterday that you see what happened. The positive news with Skubal. It wasn't. I remember we were talking about the injury.
Yeah, I mean he's they said last week he's fine, good to go. Obviously, I think it was like just some soreness. But either way, though, I'm not. I'll say this, and I haven't since football started. Personally, I have not watched the Tigers a lot, just because there's so much going on the last 2 weeks. So I haven't had much time to be able to really lock into them. I know what's going on every day. I'm not confident going into the playoffs. The confidence level is very low. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I'm happy I don't have any bets for them to win.
Is it time you fire up another jinx bet where you like you know?
I have and like for people who don't know, Jeff and I filled in morning show radio show for Anthony Bellino. Spin on Sports, yeah, and we were it was what 6 to 9 a.m. and we're in there at like 5:15 in the morning, and I told the boys, I said, this is when the Tigers were struggling. Like I think they lost like 12 straight. I was like, I think I have to bet the Guardians. Like, you know what I mean? It feels like sometimes when I place bets, as soon as I place them, the opposite happens. And I was like, in my head, logically, it was like, if I bet the Guardians, one, the Tigers choke and I make money off of it. Okay, whatever. But two, as soon as I place the bet on the Guardians, guess what's going to happen? Guardians are going to start losing. I'm just there's just a world where 90% of my bets might just mush. So it worked until now. So maybe I have to double down and go throw a couple extra bucks on the Guardians.
You have to
just to help the city out. Because, dude, I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, what? How do you just win? I mean, they have another game, I think, versus the Guardians tomorrow. But like, win 2 of the 3 or whatever it is. I think they played 3 versus them.
Yeah, they were good. They lost 2 of the 3. Even if they win tomorrow, they lost.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing here. You lose 2. I mean, what are we doing? They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 of their last 6 games, and you're going down the stretch. You have to go up against Atlanta, who, I mean, they're not the best in the world, and then you have to go up against Cleveland again. Like Jeff, say they lose tonight, and then they drop tomorrow. They play Atlanta 3 games, and then guess who they play for another 3 games?
Who?
The Cleveland Guardians.
Oh.
So like the Guardians can, the Guardians can win today, win tomorrow, and then they could go beat us 3 times, and they're probably going to be sitting in there in a spot to have a chance to actually win the division.
Hey, Cody,
it's ridiculous.
Cody says, "Will the Tigers not win? Will the Tigers not winning a playoff series be worse than the Lions losing versus the Commanders?"
No, I think the Commanders lost. You were a 15-win team. You were the number 1 team essentially in the NFL. That was the Lions Commanders. No.
I think even
you were a Super Bowl favorite. You were the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
I was the most skeptical of the Lions. Like I was a little more, you call me negative going into the, not you.
Were. No, you were for sure.
I would even probably agree with that. You know, I think I mean,
that was such a bad, in the way they lost, dude, 5 turnovers. Like everything about it, the Jaden Daniels dominated your defense. Just
the
everything
fashion
about
in which
that.
they lost for sure too. I mean,
with the Tigers, dude, it's like, yes, they were very good at the beginning of the first half of the year, and a lot of people talked World Series. It would be disappointing, yes, but the Lions team was the number 1 team in the NFL record-wise, 15 wins.
They were. There's no denying that. We appreciate you all, man. Great show. Shout out to Kevin Oestreicher. Shout out to the Doc. It was a great show. Appreciate all you guys that tuned in. As always, man, we're on our chase to 15,000. We're getting there. You guys are helping us get there. Please follow us on all social media platforms as above. As always, we post all the time, every day. If you're not checking out our YouTube, which you should be daily, you should be following us for updates, news as related to Detroit sports. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Be there. But until then, much love as always.
Love you guys. See ya.